Hey guys, so today we are going to be going even a little bit more into chapter 3. This is our last lesson of the unit. So today we're going to be talking about solving two-step equations. And so when we're solving two-step equations, our key idea here is and you'll see this a little bit more when we do some example problems, but our key idea, it says that when we're solving a two-step equation, the first thing we want to do is undo the operation of addition or subtraction first. So that's kind of a key idea that we need to remember. We want to undo addition and subtraction first, and then we want to move on to undoing multiplication and division. So kind of keep that in mind. First, you want to undo addition or subtraction, and then you can undo the multiplication or division. So let's try this out in example 1. So this says negative 3x plus 5 equals 2. And so if you guys notice, there are two steps here. First, there's this multiplication of the 3x, which is negative 3 times x, and then there's the second step of adding 5. So it's a two-step equation. The first thing we want to do is think, is there addition or subtraction? And there is. There's addition. It says plus 5. So the first thing we want to do is to undo that operation of adding 5. So to undo the operation of addition, we have to subtract. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract 5 from both sides of the equation. Remember, if we're adding 5 and then subtracting 5, that just equals 0, so we can cancel those out. So we're going to be left with negative 3x equals 2 minus 5. We can simplify that further because we know 2 minus 5 is negative 3. So negative 3x equals negative 3. Whenever you're subtracting a smaller number from a larger number, it's always going to be, if you're doing 2 minus 5, so taking out a larger number from that smaller number, that's going to be negative. So think if you have $2 in your bank account and then you take out 5, you're overdrawing. You don't have $5. So you're going to owe the bank $3, so it's going to be negative 3. So the last step we have here, we have this multiplication. Negative 3 times x equals negative 3. So we need to undo that multiplication, so we need to divide negative 3 from both sides. So we're going to be left with x equals positive 1, because negative 3 divided by negative 3 is going to be positive 1. All right, so if you guys need to pause this, write these steps down, see if you're not understanding a step that we went over here. If you're still not understanding something in this example, please come see me and ask me. But I'm going to pause the video and let you guys try these 3 example problems on your own. So what I want you guys to think about when you're doing this is think about what operation do you have to do first. Do you see addition or do you see a subtraction? Is there something you need to do first before you can undo the multiplication or division? And number 3, I want you guys to look at number 3 really quick. You're going to have to distribute even before you can identify if you need to subtract, if you need to undo addition or subtraction, and then undo multiplication or division. So you need to distribute this positive 3 to everything in the parentheses, and then once you do that, you can start. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this, look at your notes on example 1, and see if those can help you with this. All right, so number 1, 2x plus 12 equals 4. So first we have addition, so we need to subtract. So we're going to subtract 12 from both sides. So we're going to be left with 2x equals 4 minus 12. Again, if we're taking a larger number away from a smaller number, it's going to be negative. So 4 minus 12 is negative 8. So I'm left with 2x equals negative 8. I'm going to undo the multiplication by dividing. So I'm going to divide positive 2 from both sides. And I'm going to be left with x equals negative 4, because negative 8 divided by positive 2 is negative 4. All right, let's try number 2. Negative 5c plus 9 equals negative 16. So first, you guys can see there's addition, so we need to first undo addition by subtracting. So we're going to subtract 9 from both sides. So we're going to have negative 5c equals negative 16 minus 9. And you guys should know from our integers unit, if we have this subtraction, we can flip change. So we're going to keep the negative 16, change subtraction to addition, and then change this positive 9 to a negative 9. So now we have negative 16 plus negative 9, which equals negative 25. So this basically is saying, you know, one day I came and I borrowed $16 from you, and the next day I came back and I borrowed $9 more. How much total do I owe you? I owe you 25, and since I owe it to you, it's negative. So I'm just going to bring down everything else. So I have negative 5c equals negative 25. Negative 5c is multiplication, so we want to undo that multiplication by dividing both sides by negative 5. So these 5's cancel out. I have c equals negative 25 divided by 5. So what times 5 goes into negative 25? Well, the answer is 5. And I'm sorry, I meant to say negative 25 divided by negative 5. I forgot that negative. So negative 25 divided by negative 5 equals 5. Because a negative divided by negative is a positive. All right, I hope you guys got those two right. Let's try number 3. 3 times x minus 4 equals 9. So first I have to distribute. So to distribute the 3 into the parentheses, I'm going to have 3 times x, or 3x, minus 3 times 4, which is 12, equals 9. So that's what we get if you distribute. So hopefully you guys got that correct. Next, we're going to look at what we can do in the second step equation. So we notice that we have subtraction. So to undo the subtraction, we have to add to both sides. We're going to add 12 to both sides. So those cancel out. We're going to be left with 3x equals 9 plus 12, which equals 21. My last step is going to be to look at this multiplication. How do I undo multiplication? Well, I just have to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. These 3's cancel out. So I'm going to have x equals 21 divided by 3 equals positive 7. So you have x equals 7. And as always, if you guys want to go into any of these example problems and check your work, plug in whatever you got for x or c into the equation, you will get what the solution is. For instance, if you plugged in 7 for x right here, if you solved that out, you would get positive 9. So if you want to pause and check your work and do that, you are more than welcome to do so. So let's go to the next page. So example 2, solving two steps equations with if we have division, or in this case if we have fractions. So let's try the example 2 together. So this says x divided by 8, or x over 8, minus 1/2 equals negative 7/2, or negative 7 over 2. So first things first, just like we did last time, we see subtraction, so we want to undo that subtraction with addition. So in this case, we're going to be adding 1/2 to both sides. So this is going to be x divided by 8 equals negative 7 over 2 plus 1 over 2. So again, I'm going to bring down the x divided by 8 equals negative 7/2 plus 1/2, or negative 7 plus 1 is going to be negative 6 over 2. And hopefully by looking at that, you guys can see, well, we can simplify negative 6 divided by 2, because negative 6 divided by 2 is just negative 3. Negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6, so we can just simplify that. So we're left with x divided by 8 equals negative 3. So now we just are left with our one-step equation. So now that we have division, how do we undo division? We have to multiply. So we need to multiply 8 by both sides. So these cancel out. We're left with x equals negative 3 times 8, which is negative 24. Negative 3 times 8 equals negative 24. All right, so I'm gonna